Chapter 45 Sound of Laughter. In the past few days, the shadow fragment Sunny had absorbed slightly expanded the range of his shadow control. However, it still wasn't enough to delve deeper into the vast maze. The only useful thing he managed to determine was the general direction the two massive creatures were heading. They were moving west. Once he passed this information on to Nephi's, there wasn't much else for him to do. With nothing better to occupy his time, Sunny chose to rest. The coming day promised danger and exhaustion, and he needed his body in the best shape possible. A while later, he was lying flat on his back, staring up at the dull gray sky. Cassie sat quietly nearby, lost in her own thoughts. Nephi was still meditative, or sleeping. Sunny couldn't really tell. Eventually, Cassie broke the silence. Sunny, he turned his head toward her. Yeah. She paused, hesitant. Do you think we'll ever make it back home? He frowned slightly, then turned his eyes back to the clouds. Yeah, I do. Cassie smiled faintly. You really believe that? Why? Sunny sighed, trying to find the right words. Because of her. He gestured toward Nephi's, knowing Cassie wouldn't see it. Still, there was no one else around on the stone platform, so his meaning was clear. I'm also not someone who dies easily. Honestly, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a better pair of sleepers to guide you through this nightmare. If anyone can pull through, it's us. So yeah, I'd say our odds are pretty solid. Cassie suddenly giggled. Aren't you a bit too full of yourself? You came in second to last, remember? Sunny shrugged. Only because someone clever told me to keep a low profile. Otherwise, I'd have scored higher. With a mischievous grin, he added, much higher, maybe even third to last. Cassie laughed. The sound was light and musical, and something about it lifted Sunny's spirits. He hadn't heard anything like it since entering this realm. It reminded him that even here, people could still find moments of joy. Come to think of it, this might have been the first time he'd ever heard Cassie laugh. At the academy, she had always seemed gloomy and withdrawn. After her sudden burst of laughter, her smile faded, replaced by a more thoughtful look. A few seconds passed before she spoke again. What do you miss most about home? Sunny thought for a moment but came up blank. He wasn't even sure he had a home back in the waking world. The tiny room he rented was more a place to hide from the weather than a true haven. And life there hadn't exactly been kind to him either. Eventually, he answered, nothing really. Cassie seemed surprised. Nothing at all? Don't you miss your family? Sunny gave a small smile. I don't really have one. I mean, I guess I have a sister somewhere, but we haven't seen each other in years. Oh, Cassie fell silent. After a long pause, she said softly, I miss mine the most. Her voice trembled with sadness. Sunny didn't know how to respond, so he remained quiet. My mom and dad, they must be so worried right now. No, actually, they must be devastated. They probably think I'm already gone. Sunny glanced her way and sighed. You seem to care about them a lot. Cassie turned toward him, confused. Of course, doesn't everyone? He stared up at the dull sky, the scent of rain on the breeze. I wouldn't know. That evening, Nephi had Sunny go through the thousand-strike routine once more. Afterward, they finished the last of their dried scavenger meat and took turns resting, one always staying alert to watch over Cassie. Fortunately, the night passed without incident. By dawn, the dark sea had retreated. The trio got ready to leave the safety of the giant statue. Nephi was first to begin the descent, but before moving, she offered a few serious words. Things will be different today. There will be far more scavengers roaming the maze. We may not be able to sneak past or lure them into traps like before. She looked at Sunny. If anything happens, your job is to get Cassie out. We'll fall back using narrow corridors the scavengers can't enter. If we're separated, head for the high ground on your own. Don't wait for me. Understand? With a grim expression, Sunny nodded. Nephi nodded back. Good, let's move. She started the climb down. Once she had descended 20 meters or so and found a foothold, Sunny began lowering Cassie with the golden rope. Just like their ascent, they alternated guiding the blind girl. Thankfully, descending was much easier. Before long, they were back on solid ground. Once inside the labyrinth, they pressed forward quickly. Sunny's shadow led the way, scouting for creatures and guiding them through the safest routes. Despite that, progress was painfully slow and erratic. They had to constantly change direction, sidestep groups of scavengers, and frequently found themselves at dead ends or veering off course. Acting as the scout and navigator, Sunny felt like his mind was about to melt under the strain. Eventually, the inevitable happened. They found themselves flanked. A swarm of scavengers was closing in from behind, and two more blocked the path ahead. The creatures hadn't noticed them yet, but it was only a matter of time. Nephice quickly assessed the situation, a frown etched on her face. At last, she spoke. "If there's only two, we can deal with them." Sunny looked uncertain. "But we don't have time to set a trap." He had only been training with the sword for a day. Taking on a scavenger alone was already risky. Nephice shrugged. "It's the same. I'll attack first. You wait in the shadows. Once they react to me, take one out quickly. Then we deal with the other together." It was a bold plan, one that assumed she could survive being attacked by two scavengers at once. Sunny had been consistently impressed by her skills, but this still seemed nearly impossible. He couldn't help but recall that Nephice hadn't appeared in Cassie's first vision. But what other choice did they have? Clenching his jaw, Sunny nodded. "All right." Nephice summoned her flame-wreathed blade. Then she stepped forward,